22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a special edition of Black Westchester Magazine presents the People Before Politics radio show. Usually you can catch us Sundays 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com, but we're coming on for a special hour dealing with blacks and law enforcement today. And we have several high-profile individuals who have served and have a lot to say. So I am A.J. Woodson, your host, and Black by Popular Demand. We got Damon K. Jones in the house.
Yes, yes, yes.
Damon, would you like to introduce everybody, talk about what this is? Let's get right into it since we've been working an hour today. So
we're going to make it real quick. This is a special show because we got a production team here from France who is doing a documentary on black law enforcement. And after about a month of discussing with our friend Esther here, they finally came to America, man. It's like give them a round of applause. Give them a round of applause. Yeah. So they came to my house, man. We welcomed. My wife even talked a little bit. My daughter Maisha, man, she gave them an earful on relationships between police and the black community. And I told her that I had the perfect group of people to have a conversation about what it is to be a black officer, not minority, not African American, but being a black officer in law enforcement. And the Avengers assembled today, and we have brother Anthony Mitchell, who is retired honorary police commissioner, retired. We're starting from this end, from the white hat, like the Lone Ranger,
Sometimes you need that.
Yeah, right.
The Lone Ranger was a black man, not a white
That's
man.
right. That's right. Yeah, there you go. That's right. Coy Pegues, retired commander, NYPD commander, author of the best-selling book Once a Cop, and he's been all over the place, man. He's showing us how to do it. Showing us how to do it. Love him to death. And we got who I call the godfather of black law enforcement in New York State, and he has been a mentor to everybody that's in this room. And much respect to him. I've known him for most of my law enforcement career, and I learned a lot being around him, and it's so appreciated. And when some people think where I get it from this brother, and that's Charles Billips, who is the chairman of the Grand Council of Guardians. Much respect, much respect. Yes. and we have another brother who's stepping up in the line of leadership and representing correction officers and talking about the safety of correction officers, the health benefits of correction officers, and why correction officers need to be protected. And he's also he's retired Westchester County correction officer, but he's also the vice president of the Westchester Correction Association, which is the New York chapter of the National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice, Ricky Maxwell. And not the least, you got the Westchester representative. Westchester's a representative of Blacks in Law Enforcement of America, Michael Hannon. He doesn't want to say where he came from, but he is a retired cop, but we ain't talking about that. But he's stepping up and he's representing very well, and I'm proud of that brother also. So, Esther, if you have any questions, while we have time.
Question? Yeah. Okay, I can ask question now.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I would like to ask to the former police officers if they have seen while they were working racism against black community from white police officers. I don't know.
Oh, definitely. Of course. I mean, America was built on race, so we would be crazy to think that we didn't see racism. I didn't experience a lot of it because I had a no-nonsense policy.
Make sure you talk into your mic too.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't happen in front of me. But, you know, like when I was a cop, they used to bring the guy in with the turban wrap all the time. You know what the turban wrap is. So every time they arrest somebody, they beat him up. You know, his head is bleeding. I got to take him to the hospital. He got to come in with the turban wrap. He's always a young black guy all of the time. And, you know, I just saw things, how they treated people. You know, I worked in a place called Astoria, Queens, which is predominantly Greek area. You know, they have some blacks and they have some whites, but it's mostly a Greek area. And so I saw how they treated the Greek people. I don't know no black Greeks. And then I saw how they treated the people, the black people in the community. And so...
what's the difference, you think, between how they treat the black and the white?
Oh, the whites didn't come in with the turban wrap. The young black kids came in with the turban wrap. And it could be like stealing something from a store or carrying a gun. But, you know, the white kids didn't come in with the turban wraps.
Do you think because they have more fear, they fear the black people?
I think that's a little bit to do with it, but mostly it's the tradition of the NYPD. I can speak on the NYPD. It's the tradition of the NYPD. There's a major discord between the black community and the police, and the police have been heavy-handed in our community. We're seeing it now. The only thing saving us is this thing right here called a cell phone. Mm-hmm. So, you know, without cell phone, you know, if that man could talk, probably could dig up a lot of brothers that was shot unarmed for no reason. You know, before the police was controlling the narrative, you know, they used to say, hey, all right, we shot an unarmed black man. This is the story we going out with. We getting ready to go in front of the cameras. Everybody got the story? You got the story? Let's go. Today, they can't get the narrative together. Right. Mm-hmm. Because even though they go out and they see mobile cameras all over the place, they never know me and Charles was riding by in our car, videotaping it. So the narrative, police got a problem right now. Right. It's actually good because they're almost locked into telling the truth now. Right. I mean, we just had a case yesterday. We just had a case yesterday.
15,
they killed a young black kid, 15 years old in Texas. They killed him. They came right out and said that he was in a car and the car was driving and was going to run the police over. And guess what happened when they looked at the body camera? Lo and behold, the car was going the opposite direction and the cop stood in the middle of the street, shot and killed a black kid in the head.
That's right.
And how do you explain that in many cases, recent cases, most of the police officers have not been charged?
Well, again, that I take that to the prosecutors, because anytime that you have an incident like that, you know, the cop is going to tell his story. It's two sides to the story, three sides. There's his side, my side, and the truth. It's up to the prosecutor to bring that to the table and make the case. What is happening is, and in rare situations, the prosecutors are failing to bring those cases to the public and to justice. So that's what's happening in a lot of these cases. you know, everybody has their perception of what happened. And, I mean, Charles, you can talk more on this than me a little bit, but in NYPD, I'm quite sure y'all had way more cases that we haven't had that many in Mount Vernon.
Well, even down to the narrative, what Corey said, it really doesn't matter. It's a combination of different things. I mean, as Anthony had mentioned about the prosecutor, we just had a case in Staten Island which was videotaped. Yeah, it was videotaped. It was all over the world. To me, it reminded me of another episode of Rodney King in front of us.
That's right.
But still, the officer still wasn't charged. Right. So it's more than just a narrative. I mean, it's about how the cases are being presented. It's about who's determining how it's going to go and how it's going to be presented to us.
They land in bed. Everybody's laying in bed.
I mean, but it's a culture that's all of its own. So until you get past that culture, because it's all about looking out for ourselves, and it's that that justice is us against them, and it's always going to be that type of mentality. So regardless how much videotaping is going on, I mean, these things are still going to exist. I mean, we can probably sit here, I can probably name hundreds of different cases that happened throughout the country with videotape, and officers still got over. Right. I mean, the only thing is now is that we are fortunate. I mean, a good example. Down in South Carolina, they just shot a man on videotape.
Walter Scott.
In his back.
It's hung jury.
Yeah, and the first trial was a hung jury. Now all of a sudden, because the officer decided to take a plea, they're going to work out something else. And those are the sad parts. I can take you back to Brooklyn, New York. I mean, where a kid got shot in the hallway. Right. And the most insulting thing was the DA decided to push the case and make it look like he was going to do something, indicted the officer, but yet still, though, he came back to the judge and told the judge he wanted leniency.
And that was a black DA on top of that.
Yes.
Yeah,
So it's a combination of different things. I mean, how it affects, black and Latinos or people of color communities, it affects us in a long way, and those things will never change unless the department itself and the culture itself is now demolished and taken away. I mean, we can talk about different things. Right now in New York City, he mentioned NYPD. We got a mayor there who has progressive ideas and stuff like that. I mean, I give him a little credit. He just recently got rid of a person who we was challenging in the very beginning, who one of the architects of Stop and Frisk, the one who was the architect behind broken windows, Comstat, and everything else. Fine, he forced Bratton to leave, but the issue is now is, O'Neill is in there, and he's trying, he called himself making changes, but yet still, though, they trying to increase the quality of life crimes. So now it's always going to be about numbers. That's the reason why our neighborhoods are always being affected, because they know they can generate the numbers they want out of our neighborhoods. They was called quotas. They went to productivity, and now they're called something else.
Because you mean that when you are a police officer, the most arrest you do, the best you.
And that's basically how it goes.
But
that's basically how it goes.
They could do numbers and
yes, you can get promoted, you can get other things out of it, and if you don't get those, I have plenty of officers who are members of mine now who don't do those numbers and constantly, for some reason, because they are not making these high arrests and writing C summonses, they stay in trouble.
But you could get the numbers. So let's be clear. Like, I could go to a white neighborhood right now. I write 100 summonses. For instance, there's something small. In New York City, you can't drink alcohol in a public place, right? You can't, right? So we got these big parks, nice, beautiful parks called Prospect Park. All the white people go to jazz concerts, and they bring wine bottles, and they're drinking them in a public park. Is it alcohol? Yes. Are they writing them summonses? Absolutely not. But let's fast forward. We go to Brownsville, and Charles works on Wall Street, and he just got a pink slip. They just told him today that he got fired. He got a wife, 3 kids in a house. He got fired, so he stopped at the store, and he got a beer, a 12-ounce can of Budweiser.
In a brown bag.
In a brown bag. And he tells the cop, yeah, I'm drinking a beer, man. I just lost my job. They're not giving him no chance. But they're going to go to these other communities. They're going to give him a chance. It's illegal to feed pigeons.
Let me tell you something.
It's illegal to feed pigeons. There's white people feeding pigeons all day, every day in Central Park. They ain't writing no summonses. So I don't buy that. Like, they can't find numbers. We could do numbers. I mean, I was
No,
a
of
pro
course,
at this.
of course.
We got numbers. I'll show you how to get some numbers.
Right. The disparity in the way that they approach and that they arrest. Like I can something as simple as when we used to do warrants, and you go out and in the south side here in Mount Vernon, in the south side of Mount Vernon, we were knocking the doors down, knocking them down,
South
knocking them
black
off.
community.
Right, and that's the black community. We were knocking them off the hinges. Okay. I remember the lieutenant who was in charge of internal affairs. Now, this is internal. He became the lieutenant of internal affairs for a period of time. We go to a White House on the other side of town in Fleetwood. We politely knock on the door. We had a warrant for their son. I could hear him upstairs sniffing cocaine. I could hear him. I said, Lieutenant, you want me to go up there and get him? No, let him come down. He comes down on his own accord, high as a kite. They bring him into the cell block. He starts calling me all different types of names. Unfortunately, he was still in the bullpen, and there were a couple of, black, suspects in there from other crimes that knew me that, appreciated the work I did. And I had to leave, and when I came back, he was, he looked a little distorted. But, the fact of the matter is that when we go to one side of town, and that's how you treat people, and you go to the other side, and you allow them almost to continue the crime that they're doing, get away with it totally. Not charge them, because you could hear them upstairs. You could hear them. You could hear it, and nothing happened. This is the disparity, and this system is so twisted right now, and it's gotten worse. And if not for the videos, for the cameras, it would be a war on the black man. I can't say it. I can't say it enough. With all that's going on, you're still having disparity in the stories, in the truth of what is actually happening, and we're sworn to an oath to protect, and you still have officers taking advantage, overdoing their job, not overdoing their job, violating the law. They call it police brutality. It's criminality. It's police criminality.
And how have you reacted when recently some officers have been killed by black guys like Gavin Long or Mika Johnson?
Well, all of us are part of organizations. I
yes,
used to be with the 100 Blacks and law enforcement,
no, the thing is this, put it this way, if an officer gets shot, no one wants to see anyone killed.
Right.
Regardless, whether he's wearing the blue uniform or he's wearing a black jacket, it doesn't matter to me. No one wants to see anyone killed, murdered, or any kind of situation like that. When they shot the two officers in Brooklyn a couple of years ago, we came out and we spoke on behalf of it. Right. It was wrong. Fine. They caught the person and they killed the individual. It is. And that may be. But it's a combination of things that goes on that affects our communities, what people need to address. They need to talk about the quality of jobs. They need to be talking about the quality of housing. They should be talking about ways of getting people to feel like they're alive again. But because of those elements are missing out of those neighborhoods, particularly ours, put it this way, those are the areas they tend to affect, and those are the reason why our people are constantly targeted, because they become targets. But because the white neighborhoods, they have the jobs. I can take you to Brooklyn, New York again, and I can take you to Crown Heights, where you have this large population of Hasidic Jews, and basically they get exactly what they want. They can shut down streets. Yep. They can shut down neighborhoods. Right. They can do basically anything they want over there in the area, but it comes down to about money. It comes down to also, and the idea of complexion of skins too also, because that's their community. And that they tend to be more unified than ours, and they tend to create a lot of noise. And they get representative better than we do. And that's basically what it comes down to. So in the black and Hispanic or the people of color communities, we lacking in a whole lot of areas in which we are not getting and people are not being addressed on. So what happens now is that we are the targets. We become the individuals they pick on. We get arrested. We get the numbers. I can sit here and talk about dozens of different things that are going out throughout New York State, from Long Island all the way up to Albany, how our neighborhoods are being targeted. And
so some policemen say, we target more, we do
racial profile.
Racial profile
because the black people are those who have the highest rate of criminality.
Let's look at that. We can all that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Because
that is so
that's
not
such a fallacy. Because go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
That is what's out there in the media and the public. Let's get this straight. the black people are the ones that's getting arrested. All right? Shoplifting, statistically speaking, the majority of shoplifters are white. Statistically speaking, when you go into a store, the black person is being followed by the store detective, but not the white person. But the white person is the one stealing. You know, so that is so not true. Understand, we're targeted, and we have the percentage because we're the ones that being arrested. Everybody else is being ignored. Like what the gentleman over here said earlier. You go to the city community, nothing is done. There's no parking tickets. There's nothing. You go into a city community, they could do whatever they want. Don't have the misunderstanding that just because you're black, because you're gonna get do all the crimes. That's not the case.
Yeah. So you gotta also know.
Jail, the jail where you were working, did you have more black than white?
Yes, it was more black than white. Yes, it was.
Where
Yes.
they ship them from down.
But understand, when you got to clear that. See, that's what
this
is. There's more blacks than white, but you have to also say, why is that? Because a white person could do the same crime as a black person and not get arrested. Right. Okay? They are given the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Or given a disappearance ticket. So the statistics here nationally are not true.
And you know, with
it's not
that
true.
racial profiling, you got to be clear on that. No white people coming in Brownsville to commit no crimes. So the racial makeup, of a criminal. I mean, I was a commander. It's going to be a male black between 13 and 25 years old, about 5'8", wearing jeans and probably a hoodie. That's in Brownsville.
And that's thousands.
And that's in Bed-Stuy. Yep. That's in East New York.
That's in Mount Vernon.
I mean, so in black neighborhoods, that's the description. In a white neighborhood, let me tell you, in white neighborhood, black people not going into no white neighborhood committing these crimes. You think ain't no crime in a white neighborhood? There's crime there. I worked in white communities.
I'll give you a perfect example. We had.
Is it hard to believe that all white policemen are racist?
No. We never said that.
No,
Clear that up. No one has ever said that.
No.
That is not the case.
No, they not all racist.
Right?
But we also must be reminded that we are operating inside a system that's built on white supremacy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So we're not saying all races or all white people are racist.
I'm definitely not saying they all racist.
But we must understand what the system
they all looking at black people funny.
You got to remember.
I'm telling you, they all looking at.
And the reason why, because they are entitled by the departments and the agencies.
You got to remember.
The white officers do stuff and commit crimes and injustice against black individuals. They are entitled by their agencies. They get away with things that another officer of color will not get away with.
But
things are swept under. In my department, I can speak on my department.
Let's
okay?
talk.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm speaking about my department. Okay, I'm speaking about my department. I can tell you right now. You have a white sergeant referred to me as a lazy black cocksucker and a stupid nigger. And this sergeant now is a captain, and nothing was done. Wow. Okay? Nothing was done. Part of the conversation is even on recording. The department did nothing. What did they do? They took away my medical benefits.
Wow.
All right? Because I had the audacity to file charges on that sergeant for calling me a lazy black cocksucker and a stupid nigger.
Wow.
And what did they do in retaliation? Take my medical benefits. So that's real life.
When you
that's real life, America.
When you have a system based on.
If the white officers are not racist, why do they kill all these
Well,
black men?
you got to look at the system on what it's based on.
Oh, I can tell you why they kill, because they're not giving us the benefit of the doubt. They're not giving us. So, for instance, well, first of all, they're standing out. Their tactics are so wrong. When you look at these incidents, the tactics are wrong. They're almost putting themselves in the position where you got to fire. There's you got to fire, and then you always can use, because cops got this defense called, I was in fear of my life. Yeah. Right. And I thought that this guy was going, or a girl was going to shoot at me. They're not using tactics. So they're put into these positions, and they're not giving no benefit of the doubt. They're not giving the benefit of the doubt.
You got to take it. You got to even take it back as far as what the American law enforcement system was founded on.
Thank you.
It was founded on the slave patrol. Yes. The slave patrol, which used to go out and get slaves, who are people of who? Color. Mm-hmm. So these laws, these things were fixated originally for the slaves.
Yeah, that's your weak United States
Right.
Constitution. They
That's
keep
yeah,
running,
exactly.
They keep talking about.
Right. But you
need to
turn
look that
around,
thing up.
you turn around and you look at it. That how much has it changed toward people of color? It hasn't, and it has only gotten progressively worse. Every time we learn the laws, they change the laws. Every time we get to point A, they change it again. Now, when I was growing up, if my parents gave me a beating, there was no law against that. Now, if you beat your child and leave a whelp or mark, they will take you to jail. Okay? Discipline is only supposed to be dispersed through punishment. Punishment in terms of not physical punishment, just punishment. In terms of sitting, taking away things. When I came up, it was different. Every time people learned to get past it, and the law wasn't changed because of black people. It was changed because of who? The young girl that was beaten in Brooklyn. That the mother was being abused, and the father was abusing, and the father abused both the mother and the daughter, and she died. The daughter died. That wasn't black people.
Nope.
Right. That wasn't black people. But the law changed right after that about child abuse.
Yeah, but
so,
what he's saying is true, though. A good example of that, just recently in New York City, the NYCLU sued the city and NYPD for the trespassing rule. People living in housing developments, urban-type housing developments. A lot of the young people being arrested. A lot of the young people's being arrested and stuff like that. And what happened was, all right, NYCLU sued. They literally got to stay in court on the lawsuit. But what happened was NYPD went to the legislators along with City Hall, and they went to Albany to get that ruling changed. So now what they're doing now is that they got a way of getting around it where they can still go into the housing developments and arrest somebody for trespassing. So what they did was they was able to change the ruling and to make it into, like how you would say, private dwellings or private apartment buildings and stuff like that. So what they would do is they would go to these landlords, these homeowners who own apartment buildings, and say, listen, we want to be able to set up something this way here. If we believe somebody's trespassing and you're going to give us access to the building, if somebody's trespassing, we have the right to come in there and arrest them. So they went from they went from the housing developments now to more private apartment buildings. Right. So in a sense, they still being able to go in there and arrest someone. So now if you decide to go visit someone and by chance your skin is a little darker, you decide to go visit someone and a cop comes along and asks you a question, and by chance you went to the wrong building or wrong apartment to look for someone, you get arrested now for trespassing.
So
they've been that's that old trick.
Right.
So you say it's not because all the officers are racist, it's because as soon as they see a black person, they're going to believe he's a criminal. Is that correct?
Well, I believe that's the mindset.
It's easy.
I believe
put it
that's
this way,
the
it's
mindset.
Easy. No, it's already, put it this way, the stereotyping has been placed over years ago.
Right.
So it's easier to continue the same stereotyping versus trying to create a new one.
Right. Exactly. Listen, they're already coming in. Everybody got races and biases. Like, I don't eat pork. You can't force me to eat pork. It's not going to happen. I don't want to eat red meat. It's not going to happen. Right. So if I don't like black people, you can't make me like them no matter how much training you. And I get that. All I'm saying is it's up to the leadership, starting from junior to the top, to decipher which cops are right. Every time we see these incidents, like you brought up Eric Garner incident, he choked him out, illegal chokehold, as per NYPD guidelines, still hasn't been administratively charged with that. That's another case. That's like 4 or 5 years now, or 4 years. You see these things, they kill somebody, and then what you see the next day? 7 complaints with this cop. Right. He getting sued for $70 million. And I'm saying, well, what was happening? What was happening with the other 6 incidents? They're just pushing them along. There's this belief in policing that the more arrests that you make, the higher probability you're going to get a complaint. And I don't buy it, because I had a partner that got 300 arrests, violent arrests, guns. He was in street crime and everything. He had 1 complaint. So he debunked that theory.
I got a cop in Mount Vernon that cost the city $1 million. Severed a child's earlobe. Okay, just recently shot somebody. Not only did he move up the ranks, he went from sergeant. He just got promoted to lieutenant.
Oh, I believe.
Just got a lieutenant, and is it cost the city over $1 million. And it's not. There's another lawsuit where he shot a person, and the person happened to live.
And keep this in mind.
that might be $2 million
You do
in
have,
settlement.
right? I mean, it's not just white cops. You have blacks and Hispanics who do the same thing because it's part of that culture. I got to go along to get along type thing. So you have those instances too.
So,
Also,
I have a question about this. Do you believe that if the policemen were black within black neighborhoods and black districts, things would be better?
So just to be clear,
right.
that we need to know in black communities, we don't care if you send a purple cop. All we want for the police to do is respect our community. We understand we can't have no whole black police department.
I mean, administrations don't even want the departments to have
but see,
to
we
be black.
just want
You know, we got Westchester County right now.
unity.
Westchester County is having an issue right now with hiring, and they're having an issue in regards to not looking at the applications, and now the percentage is higher that they hiring more white correction officers than black correction officers, and some of these black correction officers had 190 on their tests, and they being bypassed. So the talk now, or the perception is that they're trying to get the Westchester County Department of Corrections, quote unquote, populated by more white officers.
Well, not only that, you got to look at the whole picture of what's going on. Okay, how does
see they gonna blame me for saying that?
You know, the whole how the dynamics are changing.
But it is what it is.
There were more black officers, okay, coming into the thing when who was it? The Guardians that made the lawsuit against the state, state of New York.
Dinkins did the Safe Streets, Safe Cities. He started it back
right,
in
and we have more black
90s.
officers now. They're trying to weed officers out. They're making it unattractive.
Yeah, NYPD now they doing credit checks.
Right, they're doing all.
If you got bad credit, you can't be a cop. What the hell credit? What the hell credit? I would have never been a cop. I would have never been a cop. What the hell credit got to do with you being a cop?
It's another way of eliminating people. You know, one of the biggest obstacles, like you talk about NYPD. I mean, one of the biggest obstacles for the average black person trying to get on that job is getting past the psychological screening, along with the background check. Right. So, because keep in mind, even if you have, let's say by chance you did get a warrant, and it's something very petty. It could be for turnstile jumping or for littering. I mean, that warrant easily goes up on your rap sheet, and it stays there. Yeah. Unless there's somewhere, some miracle, you can have it expunged and have it removed. Right. But if, I mean, regardless what kind of record it may be, it's going to be used against you. And then it comes to a point in time where you go through the psychological screening and they ask you a series of questions. Now, and the saddest thing about our people, we try to be truthful
as possible.
Truthful as we can about whatever's going on. And they use those things against us when we can have our counterparts who are doing totally the opposite and probably doing all kind of crazy things, from drugs to robbing people and stuff like that, but won't admit it or won't talk about their issues. And also, I mean, they are fortunate because they've never been arrested. So now those things are being used to eliminate our people from coming on the job, not just recently because of the high profiles of Eric Gardner and other things like that. The city's actually been trying to make some changes.
And they thought they was going to weed brothers out by raising the bar and saying you need 64 college credits to be a cop.
Those brothers already have 4 degrees.
They found out all the white guys that have
I just want to make a public announcement
Yeah.
for all those who's watching and all those who will be listening.
Yeah.
If you can't handle the truth, turn it off.
That's right.
Especially law enforcement. Especially black law enforcement.
That's
if
right.
you can't handle the truth that are coming out these brothers' mouths, then turn the damn thing off. Don't even listen no more for the rest of the show. You know, because it's unfortunate. What's really unfortunate is that we have black law enforcement, whether they're in the police department, corrections, sheriffs, probation, parole. They don't want to comprehend the truth, and they look at us as being something detrimental
we the bad guys,
to their career. You know, they tell officers, don't hang with these guys here or myself. They're racist. You know, this is what they say.
And
they're racist.
And the funny thing is, we're the ones that when they get in trouble,
That's right.
they come running to us
That's
to
right.
defend them.
That's right.
Well,
You know,
a good example. I mean, not to cut anyone off. A good example. You talked about increasing the numbers. I mean, not until just recently in New York City, because of the federal monitors and the lawsuits that went through, because of the Eric Gardner and the other issues that went on. I mean, not until just recently. I mean, the city actually reached out to us about trying to get more people of color on the job. And it's the most amazing thing is they thought it wasn't going to happen. So, but our thing is, you give us the opportunity, we can increase the numbers. And not until just recently, because of the help of the Guardians, we was able to increase those numbers by somewhere between 7 to 12%. Be able to get more people on the job. And the saddest thing about it, the way we was able to do it, we was able to pull a lot of those ones they was going to eliminate. We was able to have them reviewed over and was able to change their status to make them qualify for the job. And see, and that's the sad part about it, when these people was already qualified for the job.
Right. That's right.
Because the disparity, let me just say this, the disparity what happens, and I'm going to give you a little simple example. There could be a white cop that had a white guy that wants to become a cop and a black guy that wants to become a cop. The white guy could have 5 speeding tickets. The black guy could have 5 speeding tickets.
He can have parking tickets. He's still
Right.
getting it.
The white cop, they'll say the black guy has the propensity to break the law. They'll say the white guy, oh, he just made a few mistakes. That's how the report is submitted. Therefore, you already think when you read that report, you're looking at the report and it says this guy has the propensity to break the law. Oh, this guy only made a few mistakes, but it's the same thing. So this is the disparity that goes on. This is how it when it's left up to an individual, to one man, white man, black man, whatever. Once you're institutionalized in this justice system, then you tend to lean toward what this system already has created. And what you have to do is you have to break this system down and bring it back up, because it can't survive on its feet right now. You're killing innocent people.
Have you already discussed with white or black colleagues while there was an incident that had just happened, an unjust incident toward the black community?
All the time.
All the time.
They don't want. They don't want to talk because they drunk the juice.
Right.
You gotta understand, and this. Just think about this. Just think about this.
They drink the Kool-Aid.
They drunk the NYPD or the police in America. You gotta think about this. You 21 years old, live in your mother's basement. You never had a job a day in your life. You go to police academy. You do 6 months. They give you a gun and a shield and say, "Go conquer the world." Your first job is a domestic violence dispute, a violent one. You never even had a girlfriend. You got to stop that. Second one, Damon Jones is outside butt naked, frothing at the mouth, and you got to stop that. You only had like 4 or 5 hours training on stopping an emotionally disturbed person. So like,
and that's all in the same day.
In defense, it's the same day. In defense of cops, like, there's a lot of pressure for cops to perform. So like, they have to be vetted. They got to be vetted because it's not enough training. 6 months, 9 months. Not going to give you enough training to deal with all of these things that's coming. Like Tom said, that's 2 jobs in one day.
Yeah, but I think
you might have the violent pit bull next,
Yeah,
or
but
the
I
other guy with a gun.
I think the pressure is more based off quotas, and it's about numbers. You generating those numbers. I mean, fine, you was fortunate to be a commanding officer who didn't push those numbers, but I know you heard of that CompStat.
Oh, I heard it every damn time I went up to that mic.
So when the numbers do exist about CompStat, about making sure you're getting a certain amount of C summonses a month, making sure you get that 1 or 2 arrests per month. I mean, as long as those pressures are constantly placed on people, it will not stop.
And I never really had a problem with the numbers, though. I never had the problem with the numbers, Charles, because if you telling a cop, you can't find one person to arrest in 30, or that's what you do, 25 days on patrol.
But how can you even say that, though?
All I'm saying is this, though. You're in the valley, you're in Brownsville, you can't find one person to arrest. There's something wrong with you.
No, maybe the officer's doing his job.
No, but listen,
maybe he's stopping the person from getting arrested.
Let me finish.
Maybe he see the kids fighting. And you know something? Yo, fellas, stop it. Cut it out. He see the kid walking down the street with the joint. put it out, throw it away.
Let me
and
finish
I don't want to arrest you
Let me
because I don't
finish
want to mess your
Let me
career
finish
up.
the statement.
Yes.
Fine. I'm just telling you. I work there. It's a bunch of crime. You can find a crime. If you don't want to find it, you're not going to find it. My problem with the numbers, listen, my problems with the numbers is what you're saying. You're not letting me finish the statement.
Go ahead, finish.
The problem is disciplining the person if they don't come in with the number. That's
All
the
right,
problem.
that's true.
I'm
That's true.
not saying I never because the guy at McDonald's working hamburgers, he can't just do 2 hamburgers and keep his job. You understand what I'm saying? So in policing, you got to have some type of criteria. You guys can't.
Let me add something too.
Tom, if we want a world of cops, all right. So in your world, you just want the cops. We can just stop everything. Put your joint out. You shot somebody, put your gun away.
Corey,
they gotta do.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're trying to tell me everybody walking through the streets, everyone. You talking about even better? I'll give you the numbers. Let's say 2 out of 10, 2 out of 20 people or 30, somebody's going to commit a crime. Let's say by chance it's a very good day, and everybody want to have a good day, or everybody want to have a good month. And there's nothing going on. So why should someone say to that officer, you trying to say there's no crime going on?
No,
Maybe for
I'm not
once,
saying.
no,
I had to answer those questions.
Corey, that's you. But I'm saying,
I had to tell the chief there's nothing going on. There's absolutely nothing going on.
Corey, you know the saddest thing about it, me coming up as a young person in New York City, right? I got a chance to know the officers that worked in my neighborhood. This was years ago when we had real community policing, and it was just as racist back then too, also. But the issue is now is that the cops in the neighborhood got a chance to know the kids. They got a chance to know the people in the neighborhood. They got a chance to walk around and talk with you and everything else. Knew who was doing wrong, knew who was doing bad, and had the opportunity to stop a lot of those things until Comstat came around. And that's basically how that came about.
But you know what? See, the police defense, I hate when people say that because
you know what
let me say this. The police defense for that,
Go ahead, answer that.
The police defense is going to be like, when we was kids, we had 1,900 homicides.
Let him get the
Today it's only 300.
I got a comment from Facebook from Jerome L. Rice. He says, our problem is that there are black organizations that are awarding the same folks we are fighting against. Is it about justice or selling tickets to your events? And secondly, he said, we often try to outdo the next organization versus coming together for a cause. Most black organizations are distracted by what's in it for them.
I don't know where he's at. Well, I can't speak for others. I run the Grand Council of Guardians. I represent over a dozen different Guardian different groups. And I don't know where he's at or where he's from. It's amazing. I would love to know.
But he's from the Bronx.
Jerome Rice?
Yeah.
But the organizations, I don't know.
Let me speak on a little bit of this. One of the things, and to some degree, a lot of the new organizations are coming up because they don't like what they don't like going through the process. So let's be real. They try to do all the fancy stuff. They try to please the supervisors,
the administration,
the administration.
Those. Yeah, I can understand.
You got a lot of the older organizations that I've found, and that Damien introduced me to, Charles I met, Corey. The older organizations, I found they taught me the history. They talked to me about what happened. How we got to a point. The newer organizations are trying to impress supervisor, administration. That's what I found.
They deserve exactly what they get.
Right. But the sad part about that, Charles, it affects us in the long run. It affects us. It affects the new generation of cops, as opposed to them learning and understanding that there's a procedure. A lot of these incidents happen where these cops are shooting kids. It's because they're violating the cops are violating their own department procedures, and the departments and the prosecutors are not holding them accountable for that. This is what's happening. Eric Gardner, Mike Brown, all of them. Look at the procedures. Look how these guys violated their own department procedures, and then which caused them to kill somebody.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Kenneth Chamberlain, another one. Kenneth Chamberlain,
Dan Roy Henry. We could go on.
But
all of them violated policies.
But what do they say? But what do you say? Like as especially Mitch and Corey and Mike, when you're critical of your brothers and sisters in blue, no matter what color, and they label you anti-police.
Yeah, they damn sure got me labeled anti-police.
Look,
how can that be? And you was a commander.
Right.
Like how can that be?
But you a cop, remember?
Yeah, but I don't have no problem with them.
But I wore it
labeling
like
me
a
that.
badge.
You know
I
what?
wore it like a badge of honor,
Exactly.
because to me, that was like, I'm standing up for the right thing. It's not blue. It's not pro cop or pro citizen or pro this. It's about right or wrong. It's about justice. You know, if a cop is wrong, he's wrong. I call it like I see it. That's why when I was on the job, they stayed the hell away from me, because I told them I only write one report. I'm not writing another report because I hate writing reports.
Yeah, that's my.
I'm only writing one report, and that's what I saw.
That's my thing. I'm like, listen, I'll be labeled the bad guy if that's gonna keep them weak ass Negroes away from me and out my face and not speaking to me. I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I don't want to talk to them weak Negroes anyway.
And Damon, you should know better. We go through this about once a month, where the people up here are calling me about what's wrong with your boy.
Yeah.
But also remember, the anti-cop is only among the black officers who's fighting
That's right.
for the rights. If
You
a
know.
white agency or Jewish agency, and if they fighting for rights to the officers, but if you're black and you're fighting for the rights of the officers, you're considered anti-cop.
But you
You
gotta
know,
live.
I
you
was
gotta
labeled
live for
anti-cop
something
by
of-
my union president
the
a couple
biggest-
days ago, and it wasn't even me. It wasn't even me.
The biggest mistake that the department.
It was Corey.
Right. It was Corey.
He saw the video of Corey and blamed it on Maxwell.
The union president of Cobra saw the video that we was out there with a young man.
You said, "Yo, we gonna start shooting."
And he claimed I was anti-cop, and it wasn't even me at the press conference. It was my,
Oh yeah.
It was
We
Corey.
I remember that one. That was a nice sound bite right there.
Beautiful. But if you're black fighting, you're considered anti-cop or disgruntled.
Yes.
We're coming to the close of the show.
Okay.
So I want any last questions? I want to make sure she gets them in.
Yeah.
No, we started late. Okay, good.
Damien's
Well,
question. for you.
let me make a comment. Well, as the only person in here who is not law enforcement, and when you was talking about all black cops, it's not about all black cops, because I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes the black cops show out harder for the white cops,
yeah?
and I would have rather
put on a show for
I
them.
would rather get pulled over, and this is gonna sound crazy, by two white cops sometimes than a white cop and a black cop.
That's true.
You're something serious like that.
Absolutely.
You're
That's
like
true.
that.
I could name 100 black cops. You don't want to even be near them. You don't want to be nowhere near them.
especially when it's a
Same
white
here in
cop
Mount Vernon.
and a black cop, then the black cop got to
has the
show
extra. The
he's-
black cop has
he
to
can
be
get
extra.
down extra
Yep.
on the
Yep.
Negroes.
Trying to
you
show-
know what I'm
trying to
saying?
show
Like,
off.
Yeah.
So I would almost get like two white cops before a white and a black cop.
And that's
And
that's
that-
coming
and
from a
from me,
civilian.
coming from me, that
That's
says a
coming from
lot.
a civilian.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad.
Damon, can I ask you to just, you said that sometimes you talk about to the auditors, to the advice on how to survive if you are.
A police
Yeah,
encounter.
yeah, and for the sake of time, because we got, for the sake of time, it's real simple. If you get pulled over, do what the cops say.
Right.
Do what they say.
Yes, sir.
And I was saying earlier, when you watch the Sandra Bland video, I was so disturbed. Yeah, she had the right to smoke a cigarette.
That's right.
But do you want to lose your life over a damn cigarette?
Pick and
Right.
choose your battles.
Put the cigarette out. Take down his badge number, his name.
And Damon's not blaming Sandra, but
No, and I'm not
for her
blaming
death.
Sergeant Bland, but see, we don't understand that when we come across police officers and we're pulled over, we want to have the same attitude that they have. We want to go home alive.
That's right.
They have the power to take your life and write a report and justify it. And just like Charles said, no matter, even in the video, we are all trained. Everybody is trained in here. We're trained to justify our actions, whether right or wrong. We are trained to do that.
Right.
So when people get pulled over, if the cop tell you to turn your radio off, turn the damn radio off. If he tell you to put your cigarette out, put your cigarette out. Give them all your information. Follow instructions. If you feel that once you get home and you feel that your name is that you've been violated, call me, Charles, Corey, Mike, Maxwell, and Mitch. and then we'll take it from there. But you got to get home safe. And we're just doing that for the interest of time. Right. You know, you want to follow the rules of these officers because you want to get home safe. Don't run your damn mouth, because the worst thing, as a brother told me a long time ago, is PIP, pissing off a policeman. Because he's going to use his authority. He's going to show you. I'm going to show you I got the authority, right? And you don't know the mindset of that cop.
What he been through?
He could have got caught. He could have got caught cheating.
But they trained to think
that.
He
could have got kicked out with his dog.
Why would you want to fight with the biggest gang anywhere?
Thank you.
This is to all my Bloods, Crips, Nietas, MS-13s. I guarantee you, if you all stand in the corner with the cop, and everybody start calling for help, the cop gonna pick his radio, say help. He gonna have 100 people in 2 minutes. You gotta tweet people. You gotta text people. You gotta call. Yeah, you gotta give the Scooty Hoo. Scooty Hoo. Like, why would you want to fight with somebody that can have 100 people with guns and they got steroid users and they mad for no reason? And you know what? I think they should take out the police. And honestly. And y'all could just digest this. I think they should take out commendations. Because I know for a fact, and you know.
See, we correction. We don't get none of that.
No, a lot of cops, you know, they get in the shooting, they get a medal. They take the gun off the street, they get a medal.
We had a person get a medal for finding a gun.
You know what I'm saying, Chuck?
Finding a gun.
Because you all getting a check. Y'all just come, you get your check. Yep. Obviously, if you stop a bank robbery or something crazy, but just getting a gun off the street, because now when you take that incentive for them to write up that gun, now they might not stop questioning and frisk everybody. Right. They might start getting legitimate guns now. You understand what I'm saying?
But let me say this, and not only that, this is also another area that racism plays a part, because you'll find black cops recovering guns and a white cop recovering guns, and guess what? Oh, he got it more dramatic than you. Recovering a gun. Who the hell?
He got more dramatic.
He got more dramatic. Come on. Mm-hmm. They both did it. Either you give it to both of them or you don't give it to neither one of them. Mm-hmm. But you'll find the disparity. I am so fed up with the racism, and people don't understand how racist it is inside the department. Yes. You know what I'm saying?
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother level, a whole nother show.
All law enforcement.
So David,
AJ, real quick, don't forget about Thursday.
Okay.
Give a shout out.
So Jerome said, thanks, Damon. It's about surviving the situation. Comply or die.
Right. Basically, that's basically what it comes down to.
It's true. Let me tell you something.
I just want to say one thing. My mother always said, and I never got it when I was little, I'd be like, yo, but I was right. She was like, yeah, so you want to be dead, right?
Exactly.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like, right ain't, you dead, right or wrong don't make a difference at that point.
Me tell you a quick story right quick. Back in 1993-94, I was at a national conference in Detroit. And one of the biggest problems we were having was the interaction of the community and the police. And me and two other people sat down. We started doing that, what to do when stopped by the police back then, because they was locking up people by the hundreds. Mm-hmm. I mean, back during that time, and even still today, you can still be courteous and calm, and depending on the attitude of the cop, you can still get arrested.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's basically what it comes down to.
That's right.
Because they are taught to be the aggressor.
Yep. That's right.
Mm-hmm. And they are taught to agitate the situation.
That's right.
They are.
That's right. That's right. And we know because we're taught that. See, I mean, come on. I mean, when we have these conversations, I hate when we have these conversations, you know, with other law enforcement, and they act stupid. Like we don't know what's going on. We understand what's going on, but the problem is nobody wants to have honest conversation, and then there's black cops just scared. You know, they just
stand on their own 2 feet.
They just scared to stand on their own 2 feet. You know,
and they won't get that promotion.
Why is there not any black officer who are still on duty today? Is it because of that?
No, they're on duty.
They're on duty.
To speak up?
Yeah.
You ain't gonna have that. No.
Well, I mean, we've been speaking out.
We have. I'm
speaking out.
Yeah,
I'm going to work tonight.
I was speaking out. I was speaking out with Charles and Eric Adams, some of the Damon Jones, some of the most vocal people in the tri-state area, and police commissioner gave me some of the most prestigious assignments. I mean, it worked. I think if I didn't speak out, he wouldn't have gave me shit. It worked out for me.
I would say, no, what it is.
I'm employed
I
these
mean,
guys
the thing
to
is, you
speak
do
out.
have some officers who do speak out, but it's not enough.
Right.
Let's say that. It's not enough. You do have a lot of people in all the agencies who step forward and speak out, active people.
But they blackball them.
Who do right. They either get blackballed or blacklisted, or and the thing is they tend to be outshined or outshadowed by the bigger picture of what this whole thing is about, and it also is a combination of what the media decides to show at the time.
But let me
Remember,
say
the
this.
black officer speaking out, like you said, they're anti-cop, and they're going to be blackballed, and they know it.
I'll tell you this right here. I myself was speaking out. Remember when we got Dennis Muhammad here? Mm-hmm. I came up. I was a homicide detective. Had one of the most successful homicide units. The only black guy on that unit in the last 10 years of the department. Because I brought Captain Dennis Muhammad with Damien up to Mount Vernon to start the Peacekeepers. The next thing I went on vacation, I came back, and all my stuff was moved out. They moved my office. They took me out of homicide. 2 weeks later, my whole homicide unit decided they didn't want to work there no more. They just banned the whole homicide unit because of that, because of me speaking out on issues in the community.
Damn, seems I get people in trouble all the time, man. I don't know what to do.
Remember, a black officer would get more repercussions.
That made my life easier.
You're always taking a fight.
Do you think that one of the solution of the black community issues would be to live separated, like from the white community?
No.
What, they want to send us all to the moon? Come on, we ain't going nowhere.
we gonna live together. What happened? You know, we winding out, but I mean, either I'm one of the smartest people in America, or police commanders is just some of the stupidest people. This stuff could be fixed because all we want in our community, everybody agrees, we want transparency.
That's right.
You want real policing.
We want transparency. If you can't tell me every one of these shootings are justified.
Right.
I'm waiting for one police commander to say, that's wrong, we want him out of here, like tonight. And the second thing we want is for you to start disciplining these cops. I'm not saying fire every cop, but you know, it's like the level of force.
Right.
It starts with verbal abuse, like domestic violence is verbal. They're gonna slap you, kick you, punch you, then they're gonna shoot you. Same thing with the cops. They don't start out just shooting people, unarmed people.
It's a progression.
You look at them, their background. They done punched a few people in the face. They done kicked some people.
Continuum use of
No
force.
accountability. There's going to be a progression.
Continuum use of force.
And so that's all we want. And how to fix it. I'm telling you to fix it because now the black, it's like the Eric Garner case. This is one of the best cases to use. The PBA president, loudmouth Pat Lynch, actually did a press conference to explain to America that chokehold was a jiu-jitsu move. It wasn't a chokehold. Like, are you kidding me? He actually did a whole press conference to explain that it wasn't a chokehold. I mean, so how do you think the black community, you can't bamboozle me. You put your arm around my neck and squeeze. That's a chokehold. Since I was in
Corey, will he be doing
daycare.
that same thing that the black officer with that chokehold?
No way.
All right,
Chokehold is grabbing somebody around the neck and choking them.
But regardless of the
Cutting off
fact,
the wind.
is well, the what's disturbing and what creates the divide is that black officers fail to realize the reason why they have this job is because the black community fought for them to have the job.
Right.
So now that you get the job, right, you forget your responsibility. You think you're there for a paycheck.
Yeah.
No, people did not struggle to make sure. See, this is what I was taught because when I came in 1990, a lot of the officers from the 60s and a lot of officers that came in the 70s that understood the fight was there. So for us to sit and just get a job and want to and forget our responsibility to the community just because you're a police officer and you driving around, you're getting paid to do that.
That's right.
You're getting paid by the taxpayers. You're getting paid by the same black people. They're paying your paycheck. But other than that, you forget you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility not to be silent. Not to be silent. And then that's why they don't look at many black law enforcement no different than they look at the ones that violate them. They don't look. They put us all in the same box.
But you have to keep in mind too, Damon. You know, back in the late '90s and the early 2000s, we literally had to sue the city to get, because they were trying to stop us.
$97 million lawsuit.
They were trying to stop us from running our mouths or talking and speaking out. They were saying how it wasn't the rule of the department, and we literally had to sue and won to get that right to be able to speak whatever we want to.
Right. Well,
we coming to the end of the show.
Thursday at the Greenberg Center. Blacks in law enforcement. I even got the flyer in front of me.
I ain't got it. Well, blacks in law enforcement will be.
Who else is it?
Holding a forum.
Who else is it?
On what do we do now post-Obama era?
Yeah, NAACP and
AKAs, and the Black Law Enforcement of America will be sponsoring it, and it will be held at the Greenberg Center, 7 to 9 o'clock. And we will be having educators there. We'll have journalists. We'll have law enforcement and politicians.
Yes, and come on out. If you have any questions, please come out. We're going to have a great discussion and conversation, and we're out.
You could be doing anything else right now. We decide to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. This is Black Westchester Magazine presents People Before Politics Radio, special edition. See you Sunday. Peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And I'm not afraid to say.